Love is supposed to be built on trust, but sometimes, the very foundation you rely on turns out to be a lie. I learned that the hard way. My wife, Rachel, had always been the center of my world, the person I believed would stand beside me through everything. She was beautiful, sharp-witted, and carried herself with an effortless grace that had once captivated me. But lately something felt off. It started with small things. Changes so subtle they were easy to brush aside. Late-night text messages she'd quickly dismiss, unexplained absences, a newfound obsession with her appearance. I wanted to believe it was all in my head, that the woman who had promised me forever wasn't slowly slipping away. Then came the nights she'd turn away from me in bed. The coldness in her touch. The way she started spending more time working late, while I sat alone at home, nursing a drink, pretending not to notice the way she avoided my gaze. One evening, curiosity won over reason. I watched as Rachel stepped into the shower, steam curling through the air. Her phone sat on the bathroom counter, screen lighting up with a new notification. My pulse pounded in my ears as I reached for it. The message preview read, "I can't stop thinking about last night. Your body is perfect. When can I see you again?" The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I swallowed hard, scrolling through their conversation. Each message felt like a dagger, carving deep wounds into my chest. "You're incredible. I wish I could spend the whole night with you." He has no idea, does he? I love sneaking around, it makes it even hotter. My hands trembled. My vision blurred with rage. I had been an idiot. Every excuse she had given, every time she had pulled away, every lie, it had all been leading to this. She wasn't just betraying me. She was laughing about it, enjoying it. The water shut off. Panic clawed at my throat. I set the phone down just as Rachel stepped out of the shower, towel wrapped around her body, hair dripping. She flashed me a smile, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. "Hey, babe." Her voice was soft, affectionate, fake. "What are you doing up so late?" I forced myself to breathe, to keep my face neutral. If I confronted her now, I wouldn't be thinking clearly. I needed to be smart. To plan. "Couldn't sleep," I murmured, rubbing my temples. "Long day." She leaned down, pressing a kiss to my forehead. I almost recoiled at her touch. "Poor thing," she cooed. "Why don't you come to bed?" I nodded, following her, pretending everything was fine. But as I lay there, staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully beside me, I made a vow. She thought she was in control. She thought I was blind. She was wrong. Tomorrow, everything would change. Morning light filtered through the blinds, casting golden streaks across the bedroom floor. Rachel stirred beside me, stretching her arms with a satisfied sigh. I watched her, expression unreadable, masking the storm within me. "Morning, babe," she murmured, pressing her lips to my cheek. I barely flinched. "Morning," she smiled, unaware of the war raging beneath my calm facade. Sliding out of bed, she moved toward the closet, pulling out an outfit far too elegant for another long day at work. A sleek black dress hugged her curves, heels adding inches to her petite frame. She caught my gaze in the mirror, tilting her head playfully. "What?" she teased. "Like what you see." Lies. Manipulation. I had adored her once, worshipped her, even. But now I saw through the act. Instead of answering, I forced a smirk. "You always look good." That much was true. Rachel had a way of captivating everyone in a room, a magnetic presence that drew people in. I used to think I was lucky to have her. Now I knew better. She twirled a strand of hair around her finger. "Big meeting today. Might run a little late." There it was. Another lie, effortless and smooth. I nodded. "Don't work too hard." She laughed. "I'll try." Minutes later, she grabbed her purse, blew me a kiss, and walked out the door, leaving behind the scent of perfume that no longer belonged to me. I waited, counted to 10. Then I grabbed my keys and followed her. Her car pulled into a luxury hotel parking lot across town. She stepped out, adjusting her dress, scanning the area before heading inside. Minutes later, another vehicle arrived. A sleek black Mercedes. And then, he stepped out. Tall. Broad-shouldered. The kind of man who carried himself with arrogance, knowing he could take whatever he wanted. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel as I watched him stride inside like he owned the world. This was the man she had chosen over me. I could have stormed in, confronted them, let rage take over. But that would be too easy. Too predictable. And Rachel? She deserved more than just a simple argument. She deserved to lose everything. I pulled out my phone, snapping pictures as they disappeared into the hotel. Every stolen glance, every brush of fingers, every lingering touch. Evidence. Proof of her betrayal. By the time I returned home, I had a plan. Over the next few days, I moved in silence. I transferred money from our joint accounts into a private savings she had no access to. I changed passwords to every financial asset tied to my name. The house? In my name. The car? Also mine. By the time she realized what was happening, it would be too late. But that wasn't enough. I needed proof. Undeniable evidence that would ensure she walked away with nothing. So I hired a private investigator. The man I found was thorough. Within days, he handed me a thick folder filled with everything I needed: hotel check-ins, timestamps, intimate photos. Even video footage from security cameras. Rachel thought she was untouchable. Thought she had fooled me. She had no idea that I was 2 steps ahead. That night, she came home late. Again. Her lipstick slightly smudged, the scent of another man clinging to her skin. Long day? I asked, setting down my whiskey glass. She yawned, stretching as if exhausted. So much work. I'm drained. Liar. I leaned back against the couch, watching her peel off her heels. You deserve a break, I said smoothly. How about I take you out to dinner tomorrow? Just us. Her eyes lit up, maybe with excitement, maybe with guilt. That sounds amazing. I smiled. Great. I'll make it special. And I would. Because tomorrow night, I'd expose her for exactly what she was. The next evening, I meticulously set the stage. I reserved a table at an upscale restaurant, one Rachel had always adored. It was the perfect setting, elegant, intimate, a place where lovers whispered secrets over candlelit dinners. Fitting, considering what was about to unfold. She walked in, radiating confidence, wearing a red dress that clung to her figure like a second skin. Her lips curled into a seductive smile as she approached. You really went all out, she teased, pressing a kiss to my cheek. If only she knew. I pulled out her chair, watching her settle in. You deserve the best. She beamed, completely oblivious to the storm brewing beneath my calm demeanor. The waiter poured our wine. Small talk filled the space between us, her fabricated stories about work, my carefully calculated responses. But then, as the main course arrived, I decided it was time. I set down my fork and leaned forward, lowering my voice just enough to make it feel personal. Rachel, I said, watching her intently, there's something I need to show you. She blinked, caught off guard. What is it? I reached into my jacket pocket, pulling out my phone. A few taps, and the screen lit up with a familiar image. Rachel, standing too close to him in the dimly lit hallway of a luxury hotel. The timestamp in the corner confirmed it had been taken just yesterday. The color drained from her face. I swiped. Another photo, her hand resting on his chest, fingers grazing the lapel of his suit. Swipe. Their bodies pressed together in an unmistakable embrace. Swipe. The final dagger, grainy footage from a security camera, their lips locked in a passionate kiss. Rachel inhaled sharply, her hands trembling. Where did you get these? I tilted my head, feigning curiosity. Does it matter? Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. This isn't what it looks like. I let out a low chuckle. Oh, so you weren't sneaking off to hotel rooms while telling me you were working late? You weren't kissing another man while I sat at home like a fool? She opened her mouth, then shut it. There was no escape, no lie that could twist the truth in her favor. I leaned back, crossing my arms. You know, Rachel, I've spent weeks playing dumb. Watching you weave your little web of deceit. Pretending not to notice the perfume that wasn't mine, the late-night messages you thought I wouldn't see. I exhaled, shaking my head. But you? You thought you were so clever. Her eyes darted around the room, panic setting in. She was trapped, like a wounded animal searching for an exit. Listen, she started, voice softer now, pleading. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I love you. I laughed, the sound cold and devoid of warmth. Love, I repeated. That's rich, coming from someone who's been screwing another man behind my back. Her hands reached for mine, but I pulled away. The sight of her disgusted me. Please, she whispered. We can fix this. I took another sip of my wine, savoring the taste. Oh, I've already fixed it, Rachel. Confusion flickered across her face. What do you mean? I smirked, sliding a folded document across the table. She hesitated before unfolding it, her eyes scanning the words. As she read, her face contorted in horror. Divorce papers. I already spoke to my lawyer, I said, watching her unravel. Everything is finalized. You get nothing. The house? Mine. The car? Also mine. Our bank accounts? I drained them before you could even think about running off with $1. Her breathing grew shallow. You can't do this. I shrugged. I already did. Tears welled in her eyes. I have nowhere to go. Not my problem. I stood, tossing a few bills onto the table. Enjoy your new life, Rachel. I hope he was worth it. And with that, I walked away, leaving her alone in the ruins of the empire she thought she could build on lies. Rachel sat frozen, her manicured fingers clutching the divorce papers like they were the last lifeline keeping her afloat. The weight of reality crashed down on her in waves, her deception exposed, her carefully constructed lies dismantled. She wasn't the one in control anymore. I turned away, my heart steady, my mind at peace. For the first time in months, I felt free. No more pretending. No more questioning my worth. The woman I had once worshipped had betrayed me, and now, she was nothing more than a stranger drowning in the consequences of her own actions. As I stepped out of the restaurant, the crisp night air filled my lungs. I should have been broken, angry, bitter, but instead, I felt lighter. Like I had finally shed the dead weight of a love that was never real. I walked to my car, my phone buzzing in my pocket. A message from Ethan, my best friend since college. Ethan, hope you're doing alright, man. Let's grab a drink. My treat. I smirked, shaking my head. Ethan had been suspicious of Rachel long before I caught on. He had tried to warn me, but I had been too blind to see the truth. I texted back, drinks sound good. I owe you a few stories. Before I could start the car, another sound broke the silence. Heels clicking against the pavement. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. Wait, Rachel's voice trembled. I sighed, gripping the steering wheel. Rachel, don't do this. She rushed forward, desperation in her eyes. I know I messed up. I should have been honest, I should have. I held up a hand, cutting her off. Stop. Tears streaked her face. You don't understand, I made a mistake, but I still love you. I scoffed. You don't love me, Rachel. You love the comfort, the stability. You love the idea of me, not who I actually am. She swallowed hard, knowing I was right. I opened my car door. It's over. Rachel reached out, but I stepped back. Don't contact me again. Her lips parted, but she said nothing. For the first time, she realized she had truly lost. I slid into the driver's seat, started the engine, and pulled away. The sight of Rachel shrinking in my rearview mirror was the final nail in the coffin. That night, I met Ethan at a rooftop bar overlooking the city. The skyline stretched endlessly, lights shimmering against the dark sky. He clapped a hand on my shoulder. So, it's done. I took a sip of my drink, nodding. Completely. He smirked. Took you long enough. I chuckled. Yeah. You were right. Ethan raised his glass. To new beginnings. I clinked mine against his. To freedom. And as the night stretched on, laughter replacing the heaviness that had once lived in my chest, I realized something. Rachel had lost everything. But me? I had gained my life back. And that was worth more than anything.